Every film is a collaboration, and Evil Dead, the first one, was incredibly physically hard and demanding. So we shot on the most primitive of systems. We improvised everything. But it was a great experience, kind of in hindsight, with Sam, Bruce, and I. We had been lifelong friends as a result of it. The original Evil Dead was quite polarizing. So there was the young people who came to see it, hadn't really seen anything like it, and they loved it, and so it was a high watermark for them. The traditional film community thought it was kind of repulsive. They went, oh, these guys are sick. And I remember a headline to a review in the Christian Science Monitor, exactly the kind of movies we do not need. So, so it was polarizing. And I guess we have to hope that this movie does the same thing, because we want to make a movie, and we're going to deliver a movie that really hits the audience hard. One of the keys to getting Evil Dead remade was to get the three partners, Sam, Bruce, and myself, to all go, yes, we want to do it. Sam was the biggest proponent of it, and Bruce was the one who really didn't want to see it get remade.
We got a lot of pressure for another Evil Dead movie, period. That we finally went, okay, what's the reality of us actually making another Evil Dead movie? And it wasn't that high.
Sam always thought, well, it's a great vehicle for a young filmmaker to tackle and say, hey, that other movie's crap, I can do a much better job than that, just give me a camera and some money. And Bruce, on the other hand, went, well, the fans will hate it, and it was really running into Fede and having a different take on how to remake it that made it all kosher with Bruce.
Fede Alvarez met Sam Raimi in a series of meetings that he was having because he went crazy on the internet, and a little short he did called Panic Attack went viral. But this guy, out of nowhere, through his cleverness, made this little special effects heavy short of robots attacking a city. And it's only, I don't know, a couple of minutes, 4 or 5 minutes. And the effects are really inventive. They look like they're top notch. And it's just something he did on weekends. And it went crazy and blew up. And so Sam was actually talking about developing that into a feature film. But then that got bogged down in classic Hollywood fashion into development hell. And Fede pitched the concept of an Evil Dead because he was a fan.
Where we were committed to one idea that is basically make sure that we take everything that is necessary, that is timeless about the original, and everything that has expired. And I guess it's all what we decide to keep is, of course, the origins of the horror, but basically all the whole idea of that you go with your best friends to a place that's supposed to be a nice place, a good place to spend time with them, and they all turn against you, and they try to kill you, and you don't want to kill them because they're your friends, and you hope that this is not happening and there's a way out. That, for me, is a very, very scary feeling.
And it didn't have an Ash character, and that was kind of the release that freed up Bruce to go, oh yeah, I'd really like to make it. I can now see it. If it doesn't have Ash, I'm not casting somebody to redo what I had once done.
Yes, the reason why there's no Ash is because we wanted to. Ash is such an iconic character. We didn't want to mess with that. We wanted to build something out of the blue, something real new, with new characters, and leave that Ash character, which I think it can only be played by Bruce Campbell. So I think it was a smart choice to leave Ash where it is.
That was a big issue with a lot of fans of, well, if Ash isn't in it, then it's not an Evil Dead movie. It's like, yeah, it is. It's just it's a different generation.
So there was quite an uproar. People didn't want to see it remade. Why touch it? Why do this? And but this isn't just a simple remake. It's also a reimagining.
I read something online today. There was a message to you.
Oh, yeah.
And it said, I'm sure you probably read it, it said, good luck on the Evil Dead remake. You fuck it up, your career will be forever tarnished. Now,
that's good to know.
That pressure?
Well, I don't know. For me, it's no pressure related to that. I think the biggest pressure is trying to make the best movie ever. It would happen with any movie, I guess. It's not just the fact that we're remaking a horror classic.
It's just a new generation Evil Dead. That's all it really is. And we don't want the same anything. I don't want some guy trying to imitate my overacting performance. You know, why bother? Leave the guy alone. So all the other actors now in this movie get to create their own thing. And Jane Levy, by the end of this, she's taking this movie, you know, by the shoulders, and she's screaming at it in the face. She's taking this movie over. So if people want to call her the new Ash, I say do it. She's earned it. She did a great job. Not just a good job, she did a great job.
I was so freaked out in that audition. I was so nervous. I really wanted the part. But Bruce was the one who, like, immediately after our very first audition was like, do you know what it feels like to get buried alive? Do you know what it feels like to have a tube down your throat? Do you know what it feels like after the 16th hour of work and you're covered in blood? Do you really want to do this? What's your stamina? Have you ever played sports? And I was like, yes, I want to do it. It sounds so good. It sounds so good. Cool, cool, cool.
She was so feisty at first, and I told Fede afterwards, I said, she's going to be great in the part, but you're going to have your hands full a few times. And as each of the actors and actresses came down here, I brought them into my office and said, look, I want to explain something to you. This is going to be the hardest thing you've ever done. You're going to reach a time where you're going to want to rip all this makeup off your face and claw the contacts out of your eyes and just go in your camper and cry. And I said, don't rip your makeup off, but you can go in your camper and cry. There were certain iconic images from Evil Dead and signatures that we felt was something that is iconic and a story element that we need to keep alive. So for the fans and for the story, it was the right thing to do. So there are things that, if you were a fan of the first one, are going to be in this and are going to be tributes or nods to.
That's the one thing we can bring as producers to the table. We have 30 years of horror movie experience. We know what you want. We know what makes you bored, because it bores us too. So we tried to give you a movie that would scare us and disturb us. And I remember all three of us, when we first saw Fede's early cut, a cut that he would hate to even show us, we were like, oh, we're good. We were so relieved. We're like, he did it.
This is balls to the wall horror. It's like there's nothing, they're not gonna get anything that's watered down or like trying to not to make it to this or to that. Like we, on the set every day, there's something you hear all the time, people saying like, is that too much blood? Is that too much this? And every time it's like, it's never too much. Everybody, somebody's gonna say that. Somebody's gonna say that in the back. Like on our movie on Evil Dead, nothing is too much. So we're really going for it, and that's what they can expect. I mean, and also it's something very unpredictable. They're not gonna see it coming. It's really something that once it starts, it's non-stop.